Hi, my name is Larry O'Connor. I'm with Other World Computing. I'm the founder of OWC, and I get the pleasure to talk to you all today about some of our great products at NAB 2025. The hottest product of the year, and actually won Best of Show, is our ThunderBlade X12. This is the latest addition to the ThunderBlade line. We have the original ThunderBlade, which we now refer to as X4, the X8 that we've introduced, and now the X12. The X12 is the first Thunderbolt 5 version of this product. It goes up to 96 terabytes, sustains data rates of 6,000 to 6,500 megabytes a second, sustained end to end. So whether you buy a 12 terabyte version or a 96 terabyte version, if it's for ingest, if it's for editing, if it's for quick duplication, if you're using it as a shuttle drive or that editing storage that you need, more of, this drive maxes out what Thunderbolt can do, and it's end to end. I mean, that is all the way through without slowdown. So extremely high performance, high capability storage, built like a tank, soft rated power, so it has redundancy in the data. But this is, this just takes our ThunderBlade, which is already a staple for many, and hopefully a product that you're familiar with and enjoy using, and takes it to the next level in capacity with 3 times the capacity of our current ThunderBlade and double the speed. So we're here to make things faster and easier for you so you can get more sleep, have less stress on those production deadlines, and this is the latest addition to that lineup. We also have our Thunderbolt 5 hub here, which Thunderbolt 5 is really incredible for data performance, but one of the things that I think really is important for everybody, no matter how fast your data storage needs, and regardless of your display needs, on Thunderbolt 4 systems, if you plug a display, let alone 2 displays, into the same port and want to have a data storage device through that same port, things slow down. Displays always get the priority for bandwidth, and there's not enough allocated bandwidth for display, and data to share the same bus. So if you're running something like even our Thunder Bay, which supports with spinning drives 1,700 megabytes a second sustained, if you plug a display into the same bus with our storage array, you're encroaching on, ultimately the data side gets compressed so that your display can light. Thunderbolt 5 gives you enough bandwidth now with 64 gigabits dedicated to data, prioritized for data. I should say 100% dedicated, but 56 gigabits dedicated 100% for video. So that's almost 5 times as much bandwidth now for video. And what that ultimately means is when you connect up your displays and your data through a single port, nothing is being encroached. You can have a couple 5K displays and our X12, the fastest data device you can put through Thunderbolt, all on a single bus, and there's bandwidth to spare for everything. So that's really the beauty with, in my opinion, with Thunderbolt 5, having the flexibility to run different chains, different device requirements, having your displays, and having power, especially with the laptop. One port now can do so much more. And of course, you have multiple ports for Thunderbolt 5, so if you need more devices and more of that high bandwidth needs, it's no longer kind of where do I mix and match and try to balance things out. My displays have plenty of dedicated bandwidth, so they don't have to encroach on my data, and I have tons of data bandwidth to take advantage of projects that can use 6,000 megs a second on read and write. So really excited with all the possibilities that Thunderbolt 5 opens up just for having a better workflow, having an easier set, one that, again, less stress, more time to focus on creativity, less time troubleshooting. Why is this not giving me the full speed it should? And just get more done, be more creative, and get more sleep. Another solution that always super fun to talk about are Atlas cards. I mean, if you need this kind of storage, you're probably doing a lot of shooting. And the Atlas series of both SD and CF Express cards, which now go up to 2 terabytes, provide the absolute fastest ingest time, up to almost 4,000 megabytes a second through our readers. Can you download CF Express, which is about double the speed of some of the previous generation's fastest cards, and as much as 4 or 5 times the speed of what you still typically get out of a CF Express on ingest. The ingest faster means you can get those cards turned around quicker and be back out and going or back editing that media. The other beautiful thing about Atlas, these aren't just built to be the fastest cards in the market. They're not just built to be the most reliable cards in the market. They're also built to ensure these are cards that will go the distance and be there long term, not cards that are going to slow down at some point and end up being on a shelf prematurely. And that's what happens. Historically, it's happened with a lot of CF Express and SD cards, especially if you're in heavy use environments. these cars start to slow down because there is no trim, there is no cleanup of those cars when you're using them through USB or using them in your camera. When you initialize in the camera, that's not returning that card to what I would call a factory fresh state. And free with all of our Atlas series is our Energize software, which allows you with a 5-second process, not a long low-level format that actually burns life out of the card. With a simple click and a 5-second process returns these cars to full factory original performance. And you're wondering, well, how do I know the lifespan is good? I mean, I've seen cars, they slow down, they get flaky. And again, they're flaky because, typically not because they're at the end of their life, they're flaky because the cache is dirty. And sanitize, I should say, Energize also includes a health check. So you can actually, with a quick click, it will tell you what the longevity remaining on your flash is. So the card is at 80, 90% of its life still remaining versus having any concern that am I actually running out of flash life. And again, flash life is not what makes cards typically start to become flaky. And the last thing I'll talk about Atlas is the firmware update. And we're currently the only company compatible with Mac OS 15.3 and later that's able to support this. Cameras make changes. Sometimes there's a bug in the camera. Maybe there's a new feature that somebody's going to be adding to a camera. Maybe there's a new camera that comes out that wasn't out when you bought your memory card. With Energize, we push firmware updates out that correct for bugs in camera, that support new modes, and support brand new cameras that didn't exist when you bought the card. So another big benefit of the Atlas series is if there is a new camera that comes out that requires some special support, which things are very complicated. It's typically very typical and normal that there will be some support needed when something new comes out into the market. Energize and OWC are there to make sure that the cars you already own will be able to support that camera, as opposed to saying, oh, got to buy a new card. We're here for the long term. We're here to make your dollar go further. And that's through, again, sustaining and supporting these products and building products that last. We appreciate the role that we get to play because you inspire us and you're why we're here. So the better we can make things for you, the better it is for everybody. And sustainability is an overused word, but I mean, this sustains budgets, this sustains, honestly, hair color, this sustains all sorts of things that just make life better. And we want to grow with you and grow with more people using our product. So we're always going to bring you the very best, and we really appreciate that opportunity. So live from NAB 2025 was, hey, thank you for listening.